Hi, my name's Tommy Brennan, and my memories made me feel self-conscious and nostalgic, and ultimately very good.
Soft.
I'm on hypnotic, exotic, polo on my body. Got my friends saying behind me, and
I swear.
I'm surprised you know
Keep that part.
Yeah.
I do be swagging while I surf. Welcome back to another episode of Callbacks. I am co-host Sam Salem, and to my right, the camera's left, is co-host Daniel J. Sellers of the Cincinnati
Sellers
delegation. Of the Cincinnati Black delegation.
Yeah, the Black delegation of Cincinnati Sellers.
Reporting.
Danny in the LA chapter embassy.
Reporting.
We're back, baby.
We're back with another absolute heater of an episode. Anytime it's a white man Danny respects, you know it's going to be a good episode, and that's what we got on today.
Very rare. Very rare occasion, dog.
I make it sound like you're like the nicest, most amicable person.
I try to be.
Outwardly. Inwardly, you're a jerk.
Hate.
Hate. I know a lot of 99-year-olds that hate will keep you alive.
That is really true. Hate might fuel long life.
Spite.
Low blood pressure.
I'm just thinking about this because our I don't know if I've said this on pod, so stop me if I have, but our guest today is from Minnesota, Twin Cities area. That's where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
And you really don't, like, I grew up in a suburb of 60,000 people, so it's like, it wasn't like really like a small town, but then you actually go, I lived in Chicago for a bit, I lived in Boston for a bit, like, now I'm out in LA, you realize like how small of a town, I'm like, yeah, this kind of is, like, I'm 20 miles outside of Minneapolis. Like, yes, we got a mall, we got stuff, but last time I was home,
# Midwest boys.
Yeah, we're the ambassadors of the Midwest. But last time I was home, my friends are all having kids now, and
oh yeah, that's popping.
So it's like, oh, let's go to this park where like that's where we going as kids. And I show up and I'm like, bro, this is redneck. Like before, I'm like, yeah, this is normal. Now I'm like, this is redneck as hell. It's literally in the middle of a park preserve where it's just surrounded by forest. They just dug a hole, put sand in it, and put water filters, and it's just a hole of water in the middle of the ground, and people just bring their kids there, and they're just like, yeah, splash around the hole.
Yeah, it's vibes. It's called vibes, Sam. Get used to it.
No, I'm uppity now.
I'd rather be in LA traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like, look at these.
I feel like also all the parks in LA are like not good places. Like the unhoused problems and stuff like that. So it's like, I miss a good Midwest playground. Shout out to the Midwest boys.
Redneck. Speaking of having to sit in LA traffic, how's your mental health? Danny, this is a Danny Sellers trademark mental health check.
Nothing crazy, man. I feel like my mental health is good, bro. Like I feel like I'm really productive right now in this space. And I think sometimes we just overcomplicate. And I look, I don't want to sound like weird Joe Rogan-y, like you just got to work out and drink deer blood and you'll be fine. But I think I'm trying to be intentional about the small things that can help my vibes.
Yeah.
You know, after I work out, sitting out in the sun, taking my shirt off, just letting the sun hit you. You know, where I work in studios most of the time.
Yeah.
There's no natural light in here, you know. You're in comedy clubs at night. Yeah. So just the small things, being cognizant of what can ruin your vibe, essentially, trying to circumvent those things. So my mental health, I feel like it's been really good because I've been cognizant of a lot of that stuff.
Look at you. We love a man who's bettering himself. Love that for you. All right. Well, it's a heater of an episode, so we're going to get right to it today.
Midwest boys. # Midwest boys. Tommy Brennan, my dog. Chicago, stand up.
Minnesota boy, too. That's why he keep it nice. Let's get to it.
Hold on. I'm not going to end on that. Why'd you say that?
Because Minnesota nice. That's the thing, Minnesota nice.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh, you're so Minnesota nice. Like, it's always passive aggressive. You're nice, but like, he's so nice.
But you didn't have to say the part. That was a little bit too much.
That foo-foo lame shit, I ain't with it. I'm sending caps that you'll fit it.
I don't want to end on that. Now we're ending. Danny, future Danny, cut it here. I'll say yes to a show and not know where I'm going until like 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's multiple times where I'm like, I got to get in the car because this shit is in El Segundo. You know what I'm saying?
There's an issue with this. I was like, oh, it's in Hollywood. I'll be there in 15 minutes. It took me 35 minutes to get here.
Hectic. All right.
Cool. Should we do a
Sir.
proper intro?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Our guest today is a comedian and writer who burst onto the Chicago comedy scene after winning the Laugh
Burst.
Factory's
There you go.
Verified Laughs
Oh
competition.
God, where'd you pull this?
Now based in LA and a headliner himself, he's also featured for legendary comedians like Louis Anderson. Yeah, that Louis Anderson.
King.
His popular web series Roommates-in-Law, in which he writes and stars in, has accumulated over 1 million views. Is popping right now. Go check it out. We are way up blessed to welcome to Callbacks a man, although who is only 5'2" going into senior year of high school, has a personality that is larger than life. He's the son of the Notre Dame record holder for assists in a soccer game and was the thing two to his sister's Thing 1 in his high school production of Seussical the Musical. Make some noise for number 4 in your Cretan-Durham Hall programs, but number 1 in our hearts, Tommy Brennan, everybody.
Yes. Wow. I didn't even know my dad is the assist leader at Notre Dame.
He, a record 4 assists in a game and actually in a half against Valparaiso.
Wow.
Apple. Shout
All
out to
right.
Valparaiso.
Yeah, damn, that was an interstate rivalry too.
Yeah, it's definitely
Shout
driven
out to
through
my dad.
Valparaiso a couple times.
Shout out Dr. Schneeman.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a legend. Your mom also a D1 athlete, basketball and field hockey?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, high expectations. My dad also could have played hockey at Notre Dame, but then they decided not to. He was, yeah. My family's athletic. I just didn't grow.
Yeah.
Just wasn't
But
happy.
you were athletic though, at least? Like you had.
I was like, as a kid, I was a good athlete, and then it was like I was always like the best soccer player in our grade till like freshman year.
I mean, if you're
high
5'2" going into high school or senior year of high school.
freshman year, I was 4'10",
Yeah, that's pretty short. That's pretty
Yeah.
short.
and then I started noticing. I'm like, man, all of a sudden, I'm like slower than everybody.
Yeah.
And it was
Because
just
your legs just aren't long enough to carry you.
yeah.
That's
it was
weird.
nuts.
Puberty's crazy how like 6 months you go from like dominating to like I'm not nice or I'm super nice.
Yeah,
What,
You know,
it's steroids.
Is it,
it's like
uh,
natural steroids.
Isn't like your middle school girlfriend literally outgrew you? She's just like, yeah, we're not.
She did. Yeah. Shout out to Allie.
not mentally, but literally.
When we started dating, we were the same height, and she hit her growth spurt right away, and we only dated for like 1 or 2 months.
I mean, that's a
And-
long relationship
and
for
she
middle
was-
school.
Yeah, it was fake relationship. You
Yeah.
know, as we ate lunch
talked a
together
couple
or
times,
whatever.
yeah.
Held hands.
And oh yeah, it was a big Valentine's Day step was
Yeah.
holding hands,
Oh my god.
and then when she broke up with me, I think she was probably 3 or 4 inches taller than me.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
She got down on one knee. She was like, listen, buddy, she had to like go down to your level.
she's like, get up here,
Take a seat on my lap.
I love you,
come here, little buddy.
That's
Bad for
hilarious.
My brand.
Yeah.
We'll talk about referencing sports. I know big sports family, parents, D1 athletes, sisters playing soccer at Northwestern. I want to talk a little sports and fashion. All right, this is when you think sports and fashion,
Yeah.
you think Tommy Brennan, baby.
Sure.
So this is going to be it. Before we get to our main segment of Save the Date, we're going to call this Fashion Police.
Yes.
Danny,
The way you said it was very simple. We're gonna call this a fashion.
hey, man,
Yes.
Yeah.
calm down. We in Hollywood, baby. Wearing professional sports jerseys as a grown man.
Yes or no?
How do we feel about it?
Mm.
Another grown man's name on your back.
Oh, why you have to phrase it like that?
That in detail is perfect.
That is so funny. I'm no longer a fan of it personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of my least favorite moves that I used to do that I still see is when people go to a sports game, but they'll wear like their team,
Oh yeah.
even though they're not playing. Like if I went to a Dodgers Angels game, but I wore a
Cubs
Minnesota
jersey?
Twins
Right.
jersey.
Yes.
I used to do that shit, and
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny, and I despise it now.
Yeah.
In that same vein, like I don't get angry if I see basketball jerseys. I kind of hate.
Mm-hmm.
I hate someone just wearing a basketball jersey.
I mean, grown men can't really pull off tank tops that well.
yeah. I guess it's more of a tank top thing. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. I'm not a fan. And this is also just a toxic black daddy thing where he's like, you don't ever have another man's name on your back.
For real?
Yeah. It's like a thing.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, because like you just you just can't do it. Like it's not a real thing, but it's a toxic masculinity thing. Like, dog,
Sure.
another grown ass man's name on your back is crazy.
It is.
Retro.
Yeah,
that's a
phrasing it
little
like that, I'm
toxic.
completely out on it now.
That's a little
You
toxic.
just convinced me.
Woo, woo, what's
I'd
this?
Like
say
a soccer jersey can look.
Okay, so here's
It
the
look
thing.
like more like
A shirt, yeah.
yeah.
I think so. A hockey jersey, it's not weird to have a hockey jersey, a baseball jersey, or soccer jersey that doesn't have a name on it. It's just a blank back.
Yep.
And you can style like a baseball jersey open.
Yeah.
And look, if you're wearing, I don't know, I'm kind of situational. Like if you're wearing a, throwback, like some iconic NBA player to a beach volleyball game and you're like playing it, it's like, okay, that's kind of fun. Like, there's like a party or whatever. But like the dudes who I'm like, yo, I'm gonna really start dressing, and then they're just matching like their shoes to like a Zach Levine Chicago Bulls jersey. I'm just like
with the long sleeve tee underneath.
I'm like, you're a 30-year-old man.
Yeah,
like cut it out.
I agree with the beach move. Basketball jersey's okay. Yeah, baseball jersey can be a fun look with an
100%.
open with a white tee under. It's what I'm wearing right now,
Right.
but with a baseball.
It's not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal.
Wait, was I spotted online doing this?
No, this had nothing to do. Sometimes
I started like I was like, fuck.
well, actually, we get like blown up.
Yeah.
It's you on a Valentine's Day date with Allie, your middle school girlfriend,
in just a full Karl Malone.
Yeah. Well, because this actually, Karl Malone is tough.
It was my first ever basketball jersey.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that was a classic, like.
Well, because you were also in love with 13-year-olds, but you were 13 at the time.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Nice.
Funny.
Oh.
That boy got jokes.
Good. Karl Malone kind of skated by on that, huh?
Still, no kind of.
John Stockton is like a horrible like conspiracy theorist, and Karl Malone is a bad person.
Oh shit!
You can't trust anybody that goes to Gonzaga.
No.
You went to Gonzaga back then when it wasn't even cool to go to like this niggas in Gonzaga now. Like back in you went to Gonzaga in '84.
Yeah.
Dude, even in the mid 2000s, who was that? I remember Adam Morrison.
Yeah.
He like didn't. He
with
never showered.
Stash.
Yeah.
His NBA teammates were like, you can't be in the locker room.
You got to shower.
He lasted like 2 seasons because he was like a weird. He just.
It was really the
He
stank.
was electric in college.
Yeah.
Dude, this
wet.
I got thinking about all this jersey stuff because honestly, I was I was at a show in Phoenix and there's this guy wearing a Chicago Bears jersey, and I was doing this joke about like my first kiss, and this girl like heckles me. So I'm like, well, when was your first kiss? She's like, my parents are here. I'm like, your dad is wearing a Chicago Bears jersey in Phoenix. He is not someone you need to be embarrassed in front of.
Yeah.
And I kind of do like the whole grown man wearing another grown man's jersey. He's like, I'm not wearing another grown man's name. It's my name on the back. I'm like, oh, so you're a grown man who got a personalized jersey like a little child would? Like, you think you're part of the team, bro?
Man, I'm such an optimist. I thought for a second that he was a former Chicago Bears player.
Okay, I would even roast him further. I'd be like, you're wearing your own jersey.
Yeah, but at least then it's like, okay, but you were a world-class athlete at one point.
Fair.
The customized as an adult is, I mean, even as a kid, I hated those.
Yeah, but as a kid, I can be, okay, kids are naive. Like, you're 10 years old and you're like, this is I'm going to be part of the team.
That's cool.
But yeah, but as a grown man, I'm like, you spent an extra $30. You spent your grocery money.
It says Finkelstein. There's never been a Finkelstein to play for the Bears, dog. There's never been a running back.
What are you saying?
22.
What are you saying about the Finkelsteins, dude?
Look,
that's a crazy pull. That is a crazy pull, dude.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry. That's how I thought of my Finkelsteins. I fuck with y'all.
Cool. All right, let's get into our favorite segment, Save the Date, where we give you dates from your life. And you can take a guess at it. No worry. A lot of people usually don't know. But I'll give you this first one, May 26, 2015.
2015. In May, I would have been between my junior and senior year of college.
This is correct.
Chicago. I was in Chicago?
This is your first day interning at LinkedIn.
Oh, there we go. The start of Corporate Tommy.
Yeah.
Corporate T.
Business Tom.
You know what's, go ahead, finish.
I worked there for like 5 years.
Right.
It was, yeah.
Because you're in SF for a little bit, but then you moved to Chicago because of comedy.
Yeah. Yep. And I moved with LinkedIn. It was great. It was kind of an awesome job. You were in software sales.
So you know what's funny? When he told me the day, I didn't realize I was in San Francisco at the same time too.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I was working at a different company. I was an SDR at a company called Okta.
Oh, I know Okta.
Yeah. I was working in San Francisco. And I was for the year of 2015. I was in San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
Or he was probably the guy who walked by your apartment and you're like, "There goes the neighborhood." That was you. That was you back.
No, San Francisco's a wild.
I lived in the Tenderloin.
Me too.
Yeah.
I was Leavenworth and O'Farrell.
I was a block away from me. I was on Geary and Polk.
Bro, we probably saw each other at one point.
For sure.
That's funny as hell.
And I was like, do you need like a 20 or something? Or
Yeah.
I was
Trenches.
just being blatantly racist.
The trenches.
Doubling down on the.
That place, yeah. So that was me just trying to double down on Sam's riff, and it didn't really hit. But,
Nobody does racism like me, baby.
Yeah,
That's what we
can we-
learned.
Can we edit that out? My favorite thing, by the way, on your guys' podcast is how often you say, "Can we edit that out?" But it's you doing the work.
So he just doesn't edit.
And he never edits it out
No.
because it's like, yeah, Danny would have to go back and
No.
do it.
No, he's not doing that. And his whole thing is he wants to get me canceled, so then he gets the adjacent canceled, but
Yeah.
he doesn't get canceled,
But
and
I'm
he
the good guy.
capitalized
But
on
you
the
just
cloud.
your name's in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Host-
that's fun.
It's like teacher TikToker gets canceled, and then he's like, yeah, and
Black co-host Daniel Sellers, aspiring
Stranded.
comedian. Yeah, exactly. Branches off. Yeah, that was a weird, crazy time. San Francisco, because like, I moved there. I'd never been to San Francisco before. Had you either?
No. Well, I interned there first, and then I moved back
Okay.
after college. But yeah, no. When I went out to intern, I had never set foot there.
Did you have fun? Like, what was the vibe in San Francisco?
I liked it. I loved it actually.
Did you
The first summer was weird because that was when I was living in the Tenderloin, and I just got it because I needed to find a place to stay.
Yeah.
And
sorry, what is this place, by the way?
The Tenderloin is like it's the shittiest part of San Francisco.
Yeah, it's weird. I've never seen a city like this. It's right in the middle,
Yeah.
but it's just like a 10 square block.
Okay, I think I walked through it then, because
Thing.
yeah, like you're like
Probably, yeah.
most downtown centers are usually just like really corporate, but it's just like, oh, this turns into
Yeah, it goes from financial district. All of a sudden, you're like, this is the
Rough.
Wild West.
It feels like a time capsule of, like, you see old pictures of like New York, where it's, damn near burning buildings, like zombies, like people
with like
laid out,
like crack and shit. Yeah.
actively doing drugs and needles and stuff. But it's like lunch on a Tuesday. You walk and it's like
it's nuts. They do have like it's a weird community because it's like kind of beautiful in a way. They have like a lot of community leaders that are like also
yeah.
homeless and like
Yeah.
I like volunteered at this like church soup kitchen thing, and all the people who worked there were like also homeless, but they like didn't care. They just lived in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
but also like to outsiders, they weren't like friendly. It was like
they're
it was
from there.
pretty intense.
It's
Yeah.
kind of it's interesting and it really fucked up like kind of juxtaposition because you got some of the most richest people in the world that are literally like blocks away.
2 blocks up on Russian Hill, right?
Yeah,
Nob
bro.
Hill.
Nob Hill, the Haight, all is right there
Yeah,
in San Francisco, and it's a beautiful. San Francisco is probably the most beautiful city I've ever been in,
I love it.
geography wise.
Right.
Like it's you.
I love it. I mean, yeah, it's amazing
there
up
before?
there. Yeah, like and going just like across the bridge to Marin County and like
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's like it's gorgeous.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you when you first went out there? You were like, I'm about to be a big sales person, and like, did you know, or in your gut, did you always know like this wasn't really the vibe?
No, I knew I was having like a little bit of a breakdown when I got out there because
Yeah.
I kind of just fell in my whole life. I thought I was going to be a doctor.
Okay.
Following the
And-
footsteps of your daddy.
Yeah, my dad. It was always like a lot of pressure from my family. Like
Yeah.
I was kind of the one. A couple of my other siblings had tried, dropped out, that kind of stuff. And then I was like, I'm going to do it. And then I was failing pre-med miserably in college, so I just dropped it.
Uh-huh.
Got an accounting degree. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Knew I didn't
Yeah.
want to do accounting. So my sister worked at LinkedIn, got me this internship.
Yeah.
I came back. It's
Nepo,
great.
Nepo baby, we got you.
1,000%.
We got you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not hiding that from anyone. Yeah, for sure would not have gotten it. And I get in, whatever, and it's like a decent paying job out of college. So I was like, I'll take this.
100%, yeah.
And then pretty much like a month into starting, I remember having a conversation with my roommate there, who is now like, he's a writer and stuff. And we were both just like, this is not it. I just couldn't do like the go to work, come home, or like go to the gym, come home, make dinner, watch Netflix. It was fun for like 2 months.
Yeah, because you're an adult. You're like, oh, I have a paycheck now. This is fun. And then
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, but there's no, this is it now.
It's just
And,
it.
and
for
I mean, people who, if you're happy doing that, I'm actually envious of you. Like,
Yeah,
I have so
right,
much
right,
envy. I'm like, because it's simpler and it's easier and you don't get your dreams laughed at every day. But
Yeah.
like, but it's a reality check. You're like, oh, this isn't summer camp. This is now just
yeah.
the rest of my life.
Yeah, because as an intern, that's exactly, it did feel like summer camp. But then, and I also knew I didn't want to start like a family right away. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I'm cool being single, so I want to try something.
Right.
And actually, like, I found this like old journal that I had, and I was like writing about like, maybe I'll try to be like an agent, but I know I want to just
Yeah.
get into entertainment or
Yeah.
something. And I went and I signed up for an acting class, and
You booked your first commercial,
I
right?
showed
10 years
up.
old.
yeah, oh yeah, that was, yeah. So I grew up like acting and stuff, but
Okay.
I tried to get back into it. signed up for an acting class, showed up, couldn't find the classroom, whatever. I'm calling these people. No one's getting back to me. I get an email the next day. They're like, oh, our bad. Like, you were the only person who signed up, so we canceled it. And then later that day, I got the chance to move to Chicago. Like, I got the word from LinkedIn. They were like, do you want this job in Chicago? It was an SDR job.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it. I'll go there and do like Second City and stuff.
Right.
Damn.
Because when I started comedy, I was I was teaching, and I was like, I kind of want to do this, but I wasn't like really in it and people didn't know about it. And then with the pandemic, I was just kind of like in brand partnership deals. I was able to like, okay, I kind of sub, but I make money from social media.
Yeah.
So I never was actually like with coworkers who are like, oh, you're pursuing comedy. What was that like in the corporate set? I know you're working for Cameo, LinkedIn, but people know you're like full blown. Like it's got to be cool because some people are like, wow, they're like living vicariously through you. Like you're doing cool stuff, but it's also you're like, okay, please don't come to every single one of my shows. So what's it like kind of in that balance?
I kind of abused them. I mean, I had so many coworkers coming to shows.
Well, it's common. I feel like I know a couple people that had jobs in Chicago that were stand-ups, like Groupon.
Yeah.
Only the comedians that I knew from
I like
Glassdoor.
Grubhub, DoorDash. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of like a lot of these tech companies that moved to Chicago.
Yeah, good Chicago
around that
corporations.
time.
But you were like you're getting crowds. Like, yeah, I can bring people, and you're just cycling through coworkers.
Yeah, because I think like when I started, I was like, this is fun. And then like after probably after like 6 months, I was like, I think I'm going to like lean into this. I think I'm going to kind of go balls to the wall here.
Yeah.
And in sales, it's kind of fun because like it doesn't matter if you're like late to the office or whatever. If your numbers are fine, then like, they can't really say anything. And like I was never great, but I was never like on the chopping block.
Yeah, you're charismatic.
So I was pretty open about how much I was doing it, and I was like, yeah, come out. I mean, once I started producing the Laugh Factory Wednesday show, Verified Laughs, we had to sell tickets to Laugh Factory, so I was like walking around handing out coupons in the office and shit like that. I like fully,
I mean, you got to be unashamed though if you're gonna make it in this business. So
yeah, I've never understood the people that like fully keep it secret unless it is like a job that you would get fired for.
Yeah, like if you need the money, like
so
you can't.
So how far did you get corporate wise, like position wise?
I went.
You was out there getting promoted.
I was an account executive. I got promoted like 2 or 3 times at LinkedIn. I was an account executive when I left there.
Real quick, I didn't really try that hard. How many times did you get promoted? Yeah, 2 or 3 times.
Well, I was there for like 3 years, you know, and these weren't like crazy. It was like SDR, junior account executive. Right. And then I left and went and worked for Cameo, and I had like 8 different jobs there because it was a startup. So it was like,
that was like the first startup.
I was just bouncing around. Yeah.
Was that over in the West Loop too, right there?
Yeah. It was a fun little time. And
that was a nice.
Please buy my cameos out
last
there.
year.
Please.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah.
I've got a couple out there.
Look, our boy.
You know, couple middle-aged white women that are like, I like you,
dude. I let them all expire. I'm so bad for someone who worked there, and that my entire job was talent relations, telling people.
You've had people pay for a video from you, and you just don't even do it.
Yeah.
But don't you kind of feel cool? I'm like people.
And then I almost always send them for free after, but
that's what I'm saying. Mine are only like $10, and I'm like, bro, I would have sent this for free. Like, I'm just the fact that somebody likes me. I'm such like a
60 seconds. Like, what's up, Tommy? It's your birthday, dog.
Yeah,
happy birthday! Shout out to your mama. I love you, man. You know, that's it.
Well, the problem is, I dug myself a hole in the pandemic. I would do musical ones, and like just really bad, but like kind of on purpose, like cringy, bad,
it's funny
shitty rhyming. Like on the piano or on the guitar.
The Woods music video.
Literally, it was that same time. I was living at my grandparents' cabin in northern Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like had nothing to do. So I would like do like a 3-minute, like just cringy, bad, funny song. And then people started booking that a lot. And they would send me like $50, $100 tips. And like it was a fun little thing I had going. And then when shit opened back up, I didn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. Right.
And now people will book and request that, and I'm like, I don't
have
the
it.
Juice.
I
haven't been playing as much lately.
Backyard baseball, your pitcher's running out of juice.
Yes,
on
dude,
like
the juice box is all crinkled up.
Yeah, like you're out of energy. You got to get the juice bar up. That's hilarious.
Gracious. That was a moment.
Oh.
I feel like to finish off the corporate shit.
Yeah,
I was in a weird spot when I left because I was a manager.
Oh yeah, you got to that. I never wanted.
He was making money.
I mean, not enough. It's never enough. But I was a manager. I feel like,
comedy.
yeah, I mean, compared to what I make now, definitely was I'm fucked up now, but I feel like, it was a weird thing where like I would be scared to tell too many people who knew by the time I left for sure.
Yeah.
But I try not to like wear it. Cause I would be, I'm also not a clean comedian too. So I'm talking about all kind of wild shit sometimes.
Yeah, it's also hard when there's like people, when you're a manager, there was like people that kind of depended on you
Yeah.
for their livelihood.
And you're sleepy.
Yeah, and you can't, because that is,
You're sleepy.
like I had to own up to my managers once in a while where they'd be like, you this week has been brutal. You haven't called one person.
Yeah.
And they also know, because they see it on Instagram, that I've
Right.
been out every night at
Right.
shows. So that was hard to defend, but as a manager, it'd be way harder.
Bruh. Oh my God. You got calls till 2:00 in the morning on
Yeah.
Wednesday
Yeah.
for fucking 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's tough.
Oh
Tough
my
scene.
God. That was a crazy time.
I always got by by just being like a good vibes in the office.
Yeah.
That was kind of my whole thing. I was the guy. I organized pickup basketball before work.
Oh.
I like did that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
The intangibles,
White privilege, the main intangible.
Oh, 1,000%.
Corporate
I
Alex
mean, look at
Caruso.
me. I look like I was built there. You
I'm
know.
just kidding. I like how I'm the one calling it out as if that hasn't gotten me to everywhere I've gotten
Yeah.
so far too.
That's-
All right, let me hit you with this second date. This was February 19th, same year, 2015. So this is
February
senior year of college.
February 19th, 2015 would have been junior year of college.
Oh, you're sorry.
Good.
It has to do with your senior year of college. My apologies. My apologies.
Was that class president?
Class president
Yes, got it,
Schneeman,
nailed it.
Montague, Simmons, and Doyle named to the
Yeah.
senior class council.
Also,
This
just-
man, go ahead.
Well, just to prevent confusion, my real last name is Schneeman, and my middle name is Brennan. That's what I use on stage.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, are we getting breaking news?
Yeah.
We're breaking.
Well, that's because you introduced me as Tommy Brennan, but
Yeah.
we keep saying my last name, so I figured.
Oh, sorry.
it out.
I mean, we can. Should we just bleep out your last name as if we're saying
Can we
something
edit
crazy?
that out?
Yeah, Danny.
Danny,
Get
edit
on
that
it.
out.
Cut that shit out, dog.
Yeah.
Okay, but
No, I don't give a shit.
Future
I
Danny.
don't.
this man was class president at Notre Dame.
What does that take?
Pretty
to be that
ritzy.
popular?
Pretty ritzy.
It is just a popularity contest, and like, but it's also you're not running against the most popular
Yeah.
people. It's the most popular of like the kids that want to be in student government.
That is-
You know,
That makes sense.
so it was not the hardest thing I've ever.
What did you any proud accomplishments as class president and stuff you pulled off that was cool? What was our day-to-day looking like?
Honestly, we didn't do shit. I was such a bad class
Stop and
president.
frisk.
It was like
Stop it.
I,
Hey ladies, come here.
I said, oh my god.
That's crazy.
I still the don't ask, don't tell policy at Notre Dame.
All these crazy, weirdly like conservative,
Super old
the
policies.
drug act, like crime laws. Like, bro, what? I gotta
I
go
was
to
like,
jail.
have you guys ever heard of trickle down economics?
So we're gonna give the seniors all the best stuff. Freshmen, it's gonna work for you. It's gonna work for you.
Oh god, yeah. No, I didn't really. What sucks is like you run and like I was mostly like fun oriented,
Uh-huh.
and then like all the fun ideas you have, they're just like, no, you can't do it.
Well, it's also Notre Dame. It's not like it's like this little like party school.
No,
I mean, I'm
shit
sure
is
there are big
locked up.
parties.
I was gonna ask,
but
how
Yeah.
strict is it? Because I feel like some religious schools aren't that strict, but I feel like Notre Dame's kind of teeter.
They're weird. They're like they're strict about like some things, and then like drinking was like not at all.
Mm.
Like it's not a dry campus. Like
Well, I mean, come on, it's Catholic. You got to drink
exactly.
a lot.
Like it's that part is just instilled. Like it was like just don't get caught drinking like in public spaces, but like
Right. Like,
in your dorms and stuff. Like we had parties. You could register to throw a party in your dorm and stuff like that.
What?
And
You
it's-
could register to throw a party?
Yeah, and like
event.
because we had like common rooms that were like
Mm.
unique to each section, and they could probably.
They reserve a
I
space.
mean, we put 200 people in like it was about this big actually,
Damn.
and as long as people like weren't in the hallway and stuff, they were cool with drinking. Then it was like
The one CD
but, like,
boys were getting crazy.
they one CD. Yes, God, that's an unbelievable poll. Where did I thought I like deleted all this?
I keep my ear to the
Boys
ground,
crazy.
brother.
It's unbelievable.
CIA.
I know. I was listening to your episode with Aaron Branch, and I was like, "These are deep cut." You were quoting his freestyle verses
Yeah.
or mixtape
know,
verses.
Spends a lot of time.
I have no life.
The one thing Notre Dame was weird about is sex or like inner
Yeah. That's
sex
what I've
stuff
heard.
because the dorms are segregated by sex
Yeah.
or by gender. or
All of
whatever.
them are?
Yeah, it's like 15 guys dorms, 15
Right.
girls dorms,
Yeah.
and you have to be out of the other one by midnight on
That's how-
weekdays, 2 a.m. on weekends.
A lot of morning.
That's how I was transferred to
Yeah.
a small school because of basketball, but I was at a state school before, and it was literally like okay, if you go around the corner, it's girls' dorms. Like it's literally just like they're not even trying to prevent anything.
Oh yeah.
And then going to a small Christian school where it's like you can't have the door closed if there's mixed company in the room. Otherwise you get like
Whoa.
written up or whatever. Like,
Oh shit.
yeah.
What was that
Your
school?
boy
called?
was outside.
Trinity International. It's on the
Okay.
like northwest suburbs of Chicago.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like Deerfield, like
Could
way
be
out there.
me.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't. I've like I know people that have gone. A lot of like my old teammates went to like the Citadel,
Yeah.
or just like other like military schools or like Charleston Southern. I don't know if I could ever go to a school that wouldn't have allowed me to be outside. And I wasn't a crazy because I still played sports. I couldn't be crazy, but I couldn't imagine like not being able to just like get. I was gonna say the word, but you know what I'm saying. Like just be outside. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
It's pretty nuts.
See,
I like
It's-
it.
I stopped myself.
Danny tries to clean himself up around me and then just very much, I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, is that for the algorithm? Who are you censoring yourself for?
I was gonna say coochie, but
Yeah.
you know, Sam, you know, he is very strict.
I don't even believe in postmarital sex.
he's this big soaking guy.
Celibacy for life. Yeah.
But,
My balls are navy blue.
this heavy ass.
How do you cross your legs?
That's hilarious.
Softball.
So Notre Dame and all that, like it's talking buttoned up. You mention Catholicism. I've heard in your stand-up comedy, obviously Crean Durham Hall, shout out Minnesota, where we're both from,
Yep.
very Catholic school.
Yep.
And then you go to Notre Dame, which is very Catholic. You have 7 siblings. You're one of 8.
Yep.
One of 8 kids. Like this is all your parents met at Notre Dame. Like this is all very Catholic.
Midwest love song.
Yeah, like how does this? I mean, yeah, like how much does this shape your comedy and like all those experiences and?
Yeah. I mean, I was Catholic school from kindergarten to graduating college. So
Right.
it was
Wow.
like all I knew. You know what?
Do you still go to
Hell-
mass sometime, like Christmas, Easter?
We'll
type of
go
thing,
on
or-
Christmas, not really Easter anymore. We've slowly gotten, so my parents are both from like super old fashioned conservative Catholic families,
Yeah,
but then like they have multiple gay children.
Mm.
So like that just kind of like snapped them out of it, I think. I mean, I'm sure it was a number of things, but like in my memory, it was kind of like when my oldest sister came out,
yeah.
it was just kind of like my parents were like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are against her. And so it was like the entire Republican Party at this
Mhm.
time. And it was like, it was still, but like, and it was like, so we're just going to change what
I
we believe. And then
But that's
kinda
like a
happened
very
for our whole
unique,
thing.
like to be that staunch Catholic and then all of a sudden
yeah.
180 in some ways. Not that every Catholic out there is.
No, but every Catholic should have to have a gay kid. I believe
Live it
that
up.
to be true, because it's like it's crazy the way people change when they're thinking about something that impacts them
Yeah.
personally. It's easy to be like, no, I don't believe that that's right, and then it's like your daughter, and it's like, oh yeah, obviously
That's for any of us though.
Yeah,
I
like
feel
a-
like having
any issue. It's anything.
even like a lot of the trans stuff with like sports and stuff. Like it's super nuanced and hard, but it's like it's easy to dismiss it when you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah,
Like, oh, this is what. But it's like if you had a kid that wanted to fucking play sports, it's like how do I figure that? You got to figure it out some
yeah.
way.
You have to,
And
address
it's not simple, you know. Like it's not a simple thing. You can't just dismiss the shit.
Yeah,
And we're the ones to give answers. 3 straight dudes.
I'm,
Yeah.
not,
30
I'm,
years
not,
old.
I'm not giving. I'm just saying it's hard.
messing with it.
no,
saying
that
it's
is
like-
what I'm doing.
No, I actually do have all the
I
answers.
have figured it
Listen
all
to
out.
me.
Student body president,
yeah.
2016.
Notre Dame, son of a doctor. I know it all.
I am like on paper one of the worst people you've ever met.
Facts.
Hey, come on, you had to overcome being short.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pretty
there we
big,
go.
pretty big.
You're not 6'5". But so a question though. So this is I was listening to someone talk about this. You know, you come from a upper middle class family. I'm assuming. White dude, good looking. How do you feel like that affects your comedy? Because I feel like a lot of when you think of comedian, it's like this ugly, broke dude
Yeah.
gets no
I'm
hoes.
sitting right
Yeah.
here, bro.
Jacket is nice, by the way. It's helping a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anything that covers up more of you,
Yeah,
yeah,
adding color.
that's what you need to be doing.
Adding color.
Didn't I see you with your shirt off on stage this weekend?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
What was that?
I was so confused. When
Did you hear the audience reaction though?
He told me about it. Then when I saw it, I was like, "Yo, what's going on, bro?"
Dude, you're in better shape than I would have guessed.
Thank you, I suppose.
You
It
look
was,
great.
It was good lighting.
Yeah.
It was good. The shadows were doing some good work. One what's funny is I post that, and which happily married, I honestly would make me feel so uncomfortable if any woman said anything. But like when a guy when a woman posts like not much clothing on, all guys commenting on it. And when a guy posts a shirtless pic, it's all guys commenting. I got so many responses, and it was a bunch of bro comics that were like, hey, pretty good shape. And it was also very much like a backhanded compliment. It's like, wow, you're not a skinny little bitch.
Basically exactly what I just said.
Like I expected you to, I expected you to actually barely be able to have the muscle strength to take off a shirt.
I think it's the difference between substitute and full-time teacher.
Yeah.
Substitutes have time for the gym stuff.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, because those kids are trying to fight me. I've had multiple kids tell me, meet me outside, and I will be the one to meet you outside. Anyway, I took off with the...
I think I know where you're going.
Good-looking, upper middle class, privileged
when
dude.
I started comedy, I was like terrified that people would just hate me instantly.
Yeah.
And I think they did a little bit. Especially like when I started, I was even more like, I was so buttoned up, like high and tight. Like, would literally wear like button downs on stage. Yeah. So like my first like 4 minutes of like what I would say are jokes that would work were all about how I looked like. I was part of the corporate machine, all this stuff.
Human embodiment of trickle-down economics.
Yeah, it was like straight up. It was like I look like the son of the man. You know, if people are saying like "fuck the man," I'm like, that's my dad. You know,
the man fucking is how I got here. Actually, he had sex and I was born.
Yeah, please fuck the man. Yeah, I was so terrified of it for a little while. Yeah, and then I think like if you just like forget about it a little bit. I mean, you have to be aware of what you look like and stuff. Yeah, but it's
For me, like especially when I started, I had a good job. I was making 6 figures. I was like, just had a nice car. I had
you were hunting humans for fun.
Kill people, stab people.
You're just rounding up unhoused and be like, run.
Shooting AKs out of helicopters at wild hogs.
But I also look at like people that inspire me in comedy. I'm like, Eddie Murphy was a cool ass nigga. Like Eddie Murphy was never a squared looking dude. Like Kevin Hart, he's short, but he's a cool looking guy.
He's like in good shape, dresses well. Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know, sometimes we oversimplify. Like you gotta be, every time any comedian has to have a horrible childhood and be ugly as hell.
Nick Kroll's dad is a literal billionaire.
Yeah.
John Mulaney's parents went to Georgetown and were lawyers, and he went to Georgetown.
They all went to Georgetown. Right. Kroll and all them guys.
Conan grew up a son of a doctor and scientist and went lawyer and went to Harvard.
So they might have like little maybe moments where in time where they were not the most attractive dudes in the world, but they in general are like well-to-do, decently looking guys, good personality dudes.
Yep.
So I don't know. I like to ask people that aren't ugly as fuck, like what they think about it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I think like recently I've been, or like, I don't know, maybe coming out of the pandemic, I was like, I'm just going to dress like how I like to dress. Cause then I was like super corporate buttoned up. And then I went like, I would wear like hoodies or flannels and like pretty shitty jeans and like.
It's a very Chicago vibe.
Yeah, it's like every comic in Chicago for a little while, white dude comic was dressing like Adam Sandler, like just like real baggy flannel, that kind of shit.
One of Danny's favorite white people of all time.
It is
one of the best white people of all time for sure.
You need to make 1,000 more Adam Sandlers.
Yes, but yeah, then I had like this thing where I was like, people don't hate that, comics do. It's a lot of hate from like other comics. Yeah. And when you like look nice.
Yeah.
1,000%.
It's not, no audience members like, look at this pretty decent looking guy. What a dickhead. You know?
Right.
It's fine.
It's also sometimes when you do address it, that's when the crowd gets uncomfortable. Like for example, I have this joke of like the police in my hometown are lame and like they're not, like whatever. I'm not going to do the whole bit, but there's like, I open, real cutting edge stuff.
Exclusively.
Fuck, Sam's taking a stand.
Shut up.
Pretty lame if you ask me.
That's all time we've had for this interview. So.
Better than that.
No. Okay, real quick. It's like, oh, these cops are lame, and like I open up the glove compartment of my mom's car, and a baggie of white powder comes out, and it happened to be just like she had a baking party. But the cop was like, what is that? I'm like, white powder. And then they're like, okay. And then they just let me go. And like, whatever. I do this whole punchline. Like, he probably heard me say, white power. And just like, let me go, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. But the whole time, shut up, Danny. I didn't mean to do jokes on the podcast.
Dude, I put you on the spot.
But it's one of those things where it's like, if I would be like, no, let me stop and say, I do understand the reason I got let go was because of white privilege. The moment you bring that up, then everyone's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. But when I would try to mention that and the joke would bomb. But when I just do the joke, like, the cops are lame in my hometown, I got let off, like people laugh
Because everyone understands the context of why.
Yes,
But
they're like, we're like, now let's laugh at the cops for being idiots. But now when you bring that up, now we hate you for, you're right, you are a privileged piece of garbage.
You're using it.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think people try to, I think.
How many times have you been pulled over, Danny?
Oh, shit. Way too many, I feel like. But I do feel like sometimes, a lot of times it's not as talented people that try to make these fake parameters of what a comedian should be.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of ugly, funny ass people that like, oh, you're next level, world class.
Thanks, man.
And it has nothing to do with your parents or somebody being broke as hell or rich or whatever.
Yeah. And those people don't care about it either.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's I think there's so much of comedy that just gets caught up in the open mic scene and the whole like the whole community of comics that are pretty quick to hate on everyone else.
Yeah.
I was talking
and like, it's got to be you got to do this. And where it's like, you've opened for Becky Robinson, is that?
Yeah, man. I with her once in a while.
And like, her whole thing is like rich housewife, and that's her whole audience. It's like, yeah, you can look like a rich housewife and be a comedian. There's so many different.
There's a million lanes.
I just did a teacher tour where it's like a bunch of like literally like 5th grade teachers who are like, yeah, comedy. Like, there's
you guys
so
are like
many ways.
selling out.
Yeah, like it sold out the Brea Improv. It's like 570
Well, you know what's
people,
so funny
whatever,
too? Because like once you get out of that little bubble of like I'm at the clubs or I'm open mic and I'm hitting mics, you start touring. It's like I really only interact with like 8 comedians.
Yeah.
People that open for me here and there, my real homies that I fuck with, whether we're podcasting together, whatever.
True.
But you're not like, you don't have to answer to the hate of these other 50 people that are salty that you're doing with.
Yeah, you don't have to worry that somebody who's been in Chicago for 15 years is gonna make fun of you at the Beer Belly open mic.
Even when you leave,
at
bro.
like midnight on a Tuesday.
Even when you leave Chicago, I've had this thought, and it's been like kind of a mind fuck a little bit. It's like, bro, none of that shit matters. None of it.
It's high school,
The things that they talked about, the little dramas, this person that I want to get on this show is such a big show. It doesn't fucking matter the moment you step out of
only
Chicago.
thing that mattered was the 4 minutes you were on stage. If that helped at all.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. All right, let me get you to the last date before we, get you. You're a busy man. We got to get you out of here. July 1st, 2021.
2021. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I just was I like in the woods or something?
This is the first ever comedy show at Compañeros.
Oh man, this is like my
this
favorite
summer job bartending before you go off into the real world.
Yes.
In Dorset, Minnesota. Obviously, from my vantage point, you're very much on your way to solidifying yourself as a great established comedian. But I think it is kind of funny that had to be kind of a full circle moment of like, yeah, I used to just be a bartender. I dropped out of pre-med. I don't really know what I'm doing. And now it's like a return to your hometown to do like a fun bar show. But also at the same time, it's like the return to the hometown comedy. It's like, okay, well, maybe some girls I want to flex on are going to be there, but also my aunt, and I have to do comedy in front of her. So kind of, what was that full circle moment like?
Yeah, that place is like my favorite job I ever had. It's a all white owned Mexican restaurant in the middle of northern Minnesota.
Not problematic at all.
Authentic as hell. Yeah.
Authentic.
It's called Compañeros. They probably should just figure out a rebrand, but
it's just unseasoned ground beef for their tacos.
It is. There's about 8 ingredients and 48 menu items.
Yeah.
It's just different combos of cheese and beef.
Placement.
Lot of sour cream.
Yeah.
Only mild salsa.
Every entree has a huge dollop of sour cream and refried beans on it, no matter if you ask for it or not.
Of course.
Guacamole's extra. And it was very fun. Like, it's been there. That's where my grandparents have a place. It's in middle of nowhere, town of like 100 people. And it's been there since like the 70s. And I worked there a couple summers, like 4 summers. And the last summer I was there, I bartended, whatever, hadn't started comedy yet. So yeah, then came back 2 years later and we did this like show, and I had no idea. They'd never had comedy in this town. Like, I thought it was going to be a fucking train wreck. And I like headlined it, but I was like 2.5 years into comedy.
Right.
So I was probably doing like 15 or 20,
Mhm.
Which is
just
still
splitting the time with everyone else. But I think about like what the
You brought like a
jokes
bunch of
were
real
that
comics with you though.
I brought like 2 Twin Cities comics.
Yeah.
From St. Paul and Minneapolis. And I just think about like the jokes I was doing then, like were probably so bad, but people were. It was a real like homecoming thing. Yeah, it was like you also read a couple local riffs about the town next door. You know, that's a heroin and opioid abuse town, and you can really just shit
really
on
punched down on
Akeley,
them.
Minnesota. Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're white. So, but it was super fun, and now I do it every year, and like we have one in August. It's sold out already.
Nice.
And now I'm bringing like Jeffrey Asmus, and it'll be
like a headliner,
like a real we give him some real talent up there. And
where's the venue?
it's
Is it at
super
the same
fun.
spot?
It's the restaurant built on this like screened-in porch. It fits 100 people. The lighting is set up like a comedy club. Like it's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a comedy club when the lights are off.
Yeah.
And and they fit like 100 people in there, and it's just packed out, and it was like really cool because I don't know, you need those moments of validation
100%.
from those people that like you told like, yeah, I'm actually doing comedy now,
Right.
and they're like, all right, but you weren't that funny when you worked here, you know, like that kind of stuff, and coming back and being like, it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Those are big moments.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
That's fire.
And like you say, it's good to have, we talk about this all the time, but getting out of LA is so much more fun doing comedy. Like, I was just in Des Moines, Omaha, Phoenix, and it's just like, even though, like, not that LA is better than those places, it's just there's always famous comics around, and those places are just like, oh, we don't care if you're a famous comic or not. Like, as long as you're like good, we just want to be excited to come see you.
It's a night
They're
out.
like,
So especially a small
appreciate it.
town, northern
Yeah.
Minnesota, they're just like,
yeah. I was just in Alaska this weekend.
oh yeah,
And
Yeah, what was
Did-
it? That was fire.
it was crazy. It was like this guy that found me on Instagram and had done 2 shows up there ever, and was just like, I'll give you X amount of money to come up here, bring an opener. I was like, sure. And it was Ketchikan, Alaska. It was a town of, I don't know, maybe 4,000 people. And they packed it out. There's like 250 people in there. And they were just, so many people just kept saying, thank you for coming here. Like,
They're
we
great-
don't have anything. like
literally
this.
grateful.
Yeah, it was literally their 3rd comedy show ever. And they were, I mean, it was electric crowds.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they were just so pumped to be out. And
Yeah.
like, you're a celebrity in those towns.
Right.
Like, it's so fun.
What was the coolest part? I've been to Alaska. I got food poisoning there, so it was a pretty bad experience. But it was a college basketball game, and I was like literally like
yeah.
Who were you playing?
Boo-boo.
Alaska Fairbanks.
Fairbanks, yeah.
And so it
That's
was,
up there.
yeah, we had to take, that's how big Alaska is. We flew into Anchorage from Chicago, and then it was another hour-long flight
Oh, yeah.
to go from Fairbanks or Anchorage to Fairbanks.
A flight.
Fairbanks is
hours-
dark.
Yeah.
That's
it
what
was,
everyone was saying. They were like, don't go up there. It's
when,
not worth
and
it.
when you hear of town, you're like, oh, anytime like a town has like a name, like you hear, okay, like South Dakota, Fargo, well, that must be their city. And then you actually go there and it's like, oh, there's one building there. It's like small.
Okay, Fargo rips.
I like Fargo.
One of my favorite towns.
I like Fargo. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, but when you hear
I'm
it, if it's like the
fucking- yeah.
main city of a country or main city of a state,
yeah.
like you think like, oh, it must be a big city. And it's like, well, no.
It can still be tiny. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Fairbanks, something like, well, that's a city. There's a college campus there. There's a Verizon store. There's a Subway.
Oh,
And that was like,
and the sun is down for
yeah.
Most of the time.
20
And,
hours.
and the
So
people were the nicest people in the world, but also you gave me food poisoning for not cooking your pulled pork well enough. But anyway, what was your favorite thing about Alaska?
Oh, they took us out on a fishing boat. We caught salmon, halibut. It was like we caught a shark. That was cool.
Casual.
Then like this guy just had us over for dinner at his house, cooked us the salmon. That was really cool. Just honestly going out to the local bars
Yeah.
is like my favorite thing to
Right.
do in small towns. Cause like
Yeah.
they have a community that is so hard to describe. Like there's this one bar where there's like always fights, I guess. And there was one the night that we were there. This guy got thrown out and he was trying to fight everyone. But the beautiful thing is like they all have to coexist.
Yeah.
So the fights kind of just like simmer down.
Yeah, so
Right.
And like the cops come and they're like, hey, just knock it
they
off.
went to high
guys."
school.
They're
That's like
saying all
the,
first.
Yeah.
that's like
They're
the
all
big brother.
first
Oh
names.
yeah,
cousin.
it's like Jerry, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, Jerry. They know it's
And
Jerry.
yeah, they all
Classic
know each other by
Jerry.
name, and they know each other's backstory and who they used to date and who their mom has sex with, and who like
Yeah.
it's like everyone. Like I would get a scouting report on everyone within
Right.
2 minutes of meeting them, And like that, it builds this thing that's like, even if you fucking fist fight someone,
Yeah.
the next day you do have to go to the grocery store that they work at and you have to see them.
Right.
Yeah.
So
They're the
Figure out how to get
barber.
along.
They're the fucking carpenter.
yeah,
They're
it's
the
almost like
only
everyone's
whatever one.
siblings. Like you
Yeah.
remember sibling
Yeah,
fights?
yeah.
How you do have to figure out how to get over
You gotta
it.
coexist.
That's how it feels.
You can in LA, you can just honk the horn and flip somebody off, and you're probably never gonna see them again.
No, yeah.
Even in
Meanwhile,
your neighborhood.
if you did that in Ketchikan, Alaska, the whole town would know about it. They'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah, Danny's rolling around flipping everybody off.
The psychopath.
That's classic Danny vibes.
Yeah.
Going back to LA though, being in LA, from Chicago, New York versus LA, why'd you choose which one and do you regret it?
Two different questions. Blind optimism that I could succeed in TV and entertainment out here. That's why I picked here.
Yes.
New York, I had so much more experience with. I used to go to New York a lot.
Uh-huh.
I like lived there for like 4.5 months.
Named a rising star at Caroline's.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and I've done a lot of stuff there, and I kind of know like where I stand there.
Okay.
Like I know I'm like at the bottom there, and I'm only in with a couple clubs, and like here I just had so little experience with it that I was like, why not just do a couple years out here, see if you can kind of break through. Also, in my only 2 visits to LA before I left, Chicago is such a different joke energy.
Yeah.
It's so much more similar to New York
Yeah.
that I felt like coming here I could stand out more.
Yeah.
Like it's you go to New York from Chicago and everyone is writing and telling jokes the same way you learned how to in Chicago.
Mhm.
It's set up punch. And here it's like there's a whole bunch of different styles that have all kind of melded. And I was like, I could probably stand out a little bit if I bring some of that
Yeah.
energy. And I think that part has paid off. That's a lot of the compliments I'll get from like industry
Same.
people out here. They'll say you're very joke heavy, which is one of my favorite things that people will say because I'm like, yeah, we're doing stand-up
Stand-up,
comedy.
Yeah, I hope that it'd be
It's
joke
so
heavy.
funny.
There's some
I'm
people
like-
that walk out and they just like put a fucking briefcase on the stage and sit there
yeah.
in silence for 2 minutes, and then they open it, and then they do another 2 minutes of silence.
Or
They-
just like scream at the crowd.
yeah.
So do I regret it? No, not yet. I could, but like
Not yet.
I'm giving it 2 years.
Yeah,
I
I just
I'm
did my
about
2
to hit
years.
1.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and everyone, maybe is this true? Everyone has told me that the first year is bad.
I was going through a divorce, so that was also
Yeah,
rough.
true.
My marriage was kind of ending, but
You're like, yeah. So LA sucks.
Yeah.
yeah. Years one. What if that's how he gave the advice? Year 1 of comedy is going to be bad. You will go through a divorce.
You'll
It's like I'm not
probably
even
divorce.
married and divorced.
You're like,
No,
I'm not
but-
even. I don't even have a girlfriend.
On a serious note, I feel like the first year I was also new in comedy when I got here. I was already
It's true.
2
Yeah.
years. I was only 2 years when I got here, and that's with the pandemic.
Yeah.
I was like still really brand new. But when I left Chicago, I had just started to get into the clubs. Like you saw me.
I remember that. Yeah, that's where we met
at
at
the-
the Laugh Factory.
Yeah, Laugh Factory. I got Zany's Rosemont. I did Comedy Bar. So I was like finally hitting
Yep.
kind of the rounds. I was like, all right, even if I had another 6 months, I feel like I could really, done some
Yeah,
damage.
you would have been there every week. And
But I left, so when I started here, it was like really starting from scratch. The little baby bit of momentum I had,
yeah.
I really had nothing here. And that took that first year of like really just thugging it out, doing paid mics all the time, that stuff. And then year 2, and like the second half of year 2 more specifically, the momentum started to kick for me where it's
Yeah.
like, all right, I got rep now. Okay, now I'm getting little self-tape shits. Now
Yeah.
I'm doing better shows with people. I'm getting better
Yeah.
in comedy, period.
Yeah, you're on lineups all the time.
But it's still not enough, It's kind of annoying.
Never enough, baby.
Never enough.
I started out here, so I mean,
You actually started like open mics. The first place you ever did it here.
I couldn't
yeah, I
imagine.
did. I started
Man.
like the pandemic ended, and I started doing stand up, and so.
Crazy.
But I'm kind of glad though because, and then we'll wrap this up and get you out of here
I don't-
because I went back to Minnesota, and so the Sisyphus co-headlining in September,
Let's
October,
go. Go
October
see the
20th,
kid.
21st. Come out, Minnesota.
Wait,
but-
when?
October 20th, 21st.
I'll be there the week before. Not at Sisyphus, but I'll be in Minnesota.
Dang, doing like shows or what?
I think that festival.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
10,000 laughs.
Mhm.
So anyway, but I went to, I've been back to Minnesota a lot for some family stuff. It's like, oh, let me go to this open mic at Sisyphus. It's like a show. It's better than most shows, like indie shows out in
Yeah,
LA.
rules.
And
Yeah.
so it's I could see how that is really helpful for people starting out in comedy because you're actually getting to do jokes in front of real people. I think for me, it would have been bad because I did see some comics out there who thought they're a lot better than they were because the crowds are so hot and they're just telling the rhythm of the joke where they think, oh, I got 20 minutes. It's like, no, you don't have. And so LA, it's like, yeah, I think I have 5 minutes. And people are like, no, you don't have 5 minutes. So like, you really have to, I think it was good for me personally. I probably would have got big headed and been like, I'm good at this, where I'm like out here, I'm like, I'm nobody. I'm constantly like I'm having to scrap just to get even a bad showcase show to do 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think starting out here,
I think starting in a big scene helps.
Yeah, and
that.
so
Chicago's
probably a great spot to start because there's real stage time, but it's big enough where you can't just. There's people in Minnesota that I know like, oh, you've been doing it 6 months. Here's a 20-minute spot.
Yeah,
and it's just like you're not ready for that.
That's not it. Yeah, Chicago did a good job of like, at least me personally, like beating the confidence out of me pretty quick in like the right way. Where like, it was like, you know, you get a taste of like, I like won the Verified Laughs competition when I was like a year in. But it was just like a monthly thing. Just 12 people a year that do that, and it's really not that hard. You just bring a bunch of audience members. But I'm like, oh, so I guess I'm like ready to play clubs. And it literally took one of my best friends, Alex Dragovich, who actually introduced us. He like at one point I asked him, I was like, I can't get into the clubs, and I was probably a year and a half in, and he goes, dude, just you're focused on the wrong things. Just figure out how to write new, better jokes. And focus on the bar scene right now. That
sounds like...
And it was, yeah, well, he would do, he'd go, yo, Tom.
Dude.
Yo, you're just not ready. But he told me that, and I was like, oh, shit. At the time, I was kind of like, fuck, that was kind of mean. But like, looking back, that was kind of the energy of Chicago, was like, know your place and figure out how to get to the next one. Yeah. But like, do it the right way. And that, I think, was like the best thing that ever happened. Because yeah, it was just like, you don't get that cockiness where you're like, I can do 30. Yeah. I still, at times, I'm like, I have 8.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Like when I'm like, you can do 20, right? I'm like, and now I'm to a point I'm like, oh, yeah, I can confident. But it was like a couple days ago where I'm like, I'm going to need to stretch. And it's like, oh, no, it's good. Like you really, whereas you start in a small scene and right away you think you have 20.
Yeah. Anyway. If you have 20, you need 30. Because you're going to have to pivot.
Maybe 40.
Yeah, right.
Because also 5 of it is pretty bad.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, well, before we get out of here, what do you promote yourself, baby? What do you want to promote? Tell the people where to find you.
I'm on the road a lot. Right now, this next stretch is I'm touring with Kelsey Cook, so I'm trying to think. We're in Phoenix next week, and then where you just were, I think CB Live.
Yeah, great club, great
food. There next week, and then Dania Beach. Oh, if anyone's in Seattle or Portland, doing a little co-headlining run up there with Orion Levine. Nice. I'm in Dania Beach, Florida. I don't know, all over the place, but everything's on somekidtommy.com or on my Instagram. And then if you like comedy podcasts, Roommates in Law comes out every Thursday. Me and fellow comic Tim Smith.
Funny as
anywhere you get it. Yeah, he's so funny.
So funny. He has a very funny, just dry.
He should be like a famous actor. Yeah. His delivery's unreal.
Yeah, because he's
I
like
listened to the podcast a little bit, and it's like everything that he says, I'm like, it's what you're saying isn't even funny. It's just how you're saying it.
He kind of like delivers everything. Yeah, like a punchline. It's great.
Yeah.
He is
very easy.
Without trying, though, because you meet those people who are like, it's like, okay,
laugh now. Yeah. No, it's not like that.
Thanks. That's awesome. Well, thanks for being
guys.
here. Thanks
really
for doing this. You beautiful man.
This was lovely. You're both beautiful as well.
Thank you.
Mostly you with your shirt off.
Soft launching the OnlyFans this week. Wowzers.
Thank you for being a friend.
We really be interviewing people.
Yeah. The big time Barbara Walters energy. Shout out to Oprah. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith. You like Skip Bayless. You like a young Skip Bayless.
I can't stand Skip Bayless.
You look like a young Skip Bayless, dog.
I'm not one of those whites. Okay.
For Halloween, we should be Skip and Shannon.
Okay, I'm in. You're gonna have to start taking steroids.
Skip. Yeah, I'll be Skip. Yo, Skip, boy, them boys.
Skip Bayless. For those unfamiliar, you should probably know what it is, but sports TV analyst, talking heads, obviously Shannon, Hall of Fame football player. But Skip Bayless, he just says corny stuff. LeBron James is a terrible basketball. No, bro. You can say Michael Jordan is better than LeBron, and that's fine, but he just hates for no reason. Anyway, how are you going to get me heated? I'm sitting cross-legged. That's how heated I am.
That's disgusting.
You ain't never seen me like this. My knee's vertical right now.
I'm going to take a picture of this. That was a good conversation, man. Shout out to Tommy, man. I know, look, we talk about this all the time. I feel like in the comedy space, that's disgusting.
Look at you picture taking and podcasting at the
Yeah,
same time.
I multitask. It's so many levels to this shit, man, and I just love hearing everybody's little path and stuff. And I'm really big New York or LA energy right now, bro. I'm going through a midlife crisis.
You're kind of attracted to New York right now.
I think I need to go visit. I need to go figure out housing to visit for like at least 2 to 3 weeks so I can catch the vibe.
When's the last time you've spent more than 3 days outside of Los Angeles?
More than 3 days, bro. I mean, it's legitimately probably been a year or I've only been here for 2 years.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know.
See, I don't know if I think what it is. Maybe like, hey, look, a lot of comics like to go to New York City. Maybe really what it is you just need a nice little reset. You just need
I know that
3 day, and then you're gonna fall in love with LA. Because
I don't know.
Every time he says New York, I die inside a little bit. Don't leave me.
No,
you're gonna forget about me.
That's what I was.
You're gonna meet another nice redheaded white man out there and replace me.
Yeah, Bill Burr from 2004. Yeah, man, I don't know. I need a different creative inspiration and like muse, so to speak. And I feel like New York can help with that just a little bit. I don't know if it'll be forever. But yeah, Tommy, man. Tommy's a good dude. Always a fly, cool guy I met in Chicago. So it's cool to see people progressing in their careers and where everything is going. And as we all are leaping and bounding. Because like I said, that crew, he was talking about him, Alex Dragovich, Sarah Squirm, I think we were talking about afterward. These people that
SNL, baby.
That, I was like looking up towards. That's just the white community. It's not even including the black legends in LA, in Chicago, I'm sorry, that you look up to that are like, oh my, this dude is crazy,
Right.
Like Just Niche, and I'm just trying to think of just all these crazy, super funny.
Chris Redd was in the Chicago scene for a while.
Yeah, I missed Chris Redd. A lot of people were like Hannibal Buress, Disciples, Will Miles, those people you heard about that are writers now, Clark Jones. All this the Chicago people that maybe had just left or were still there when I got there. You kind of looked up to them people, so it's cool to kind of see where everybody's at.
Right. And Tommy Brennan, I meant to say this to his face, but you know what? He went to Creandurham Hall, which is that's a private school in nice.
Can you
nice
say
private
privates?
school.
Are you allowed to say privates on here?
Funny. And he goes to Notre Dame, and he looks the way he looks. I kind of was like, yeah, this guy thinks that his poop is not stinky like the rest of ours. But then I got to know him, and I'm like, oh, he's really nice. And if he's ever not been overly nice, which he always has been, it's probably because he's just so focused on comedy and he's such a hard worker and he's grinding. It's just like, yeah, he's either grinding comedy, and when he's not, he's like, oh, hey, good to see you, man. So
it goes back to what we're saying about being attractive, whatever, decent looking comedian. It's like a lot of the worry we have, it comes from other comedians making up an equation in their brain of what this person is like versus what the audience actually thinks this person is.
Right.
And a lot of times, to your point, when you're about to do a show, sometimes I catch myself and I feel bad how I interacted with somebody before or immediately after a show because I'm not the same person.
Yeah.
And it's not on purpose. It's just like you're trying to focus or you're like coming down from this like adrenaline dump. So you're just like, what's up, man? You're just kind of like tunnel visioning off the stage. You don't always see people. Like you see like, outlines of people's faces versus it's like a car crash. You're not the same person when you get out of a car crash. The rubble's settling. It's like, where am I type shit.
Right, definitely. Well, guys, Danny usually has an ism, which is a life lesson. I'm gonna take it for today.
Ooh, take it then, bro.
Moisturize.
Ooh, you said you ashy.
Just moisturize. Look. Get the neck.
Get the neck.
Man, you might be 30 and look fine, but 50's going to come. And look, I did not moisturize. I got sunburn a lot. It's already rough for me, but it's probably not too late for you.
So you get the loose neck.
Moisturize. Yeah. You don't need that turkey gobble, wrinkly. And look, aging's natural. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to body shame. I'm just saying.
Big body shame. Just
moisturize. It's good for you.
Get your shit up. Get your weight up. Another episode of Callbacks. Follow us at Callbacks Pod. Send us comments, likes.
I dare you to email us at callbackspod@gmail.com.
Yeah, give us your feedback. Show us some love. Thank y'all for listening so much. Until next time.
What I'm saying?